the people that are involved are finally where they need to be. They're awaiting sentencing. They were found guilty. But here's what led to them being found guilty for their crime. I was a victim of a violent sexual assault. And yes, my hair is down tonight, and I actually love it. I don't wear my hair down very often because of everything I'm going through, but I speak out about cancer a lot. And back in March, I was asked to go to a gala and speak out about my cancer story and share my experience, and I was so excited, and I was living on that high. And that Wednesday, March 7th, after the gala I attended, I don't even know how to put it into words, but I was invited to go out with some friends, and I never go out during the week because I was so focused on my career and getting up in the morning, and I was so driven that I decided I would go out for a couple hours that night, something out of the norm. But I'm not a drinker. I choose not to drink. I've been sober in that aspect because of everything I'm going through. But since everybody was drinking that night, I decided to take it upon myself to be the designated driver. Not a bad thing when it comes to making sure people get home safely. I was taught to be the designated driver when, people are drinking, and especially, if I choose my friends wisely. However, the friends I was out with decided to bring their roommate along, and I had never met him. And I didn't know him at all. I had not even met the guy before, never heard of him, didn't even know they had a roommate. I'd never even been to their house. I have always met them at school. I've always met them, out in public because I just don't go to people's houses. So all I knew about him was his first name and where he worked or what he did for a living. And not smart. And yes, it was a little reckless on my part. I should have, gone more in depth than that. But still, I trusted my friends, or who I thought were my friends at the time. My friends made it into the house once we got back to the house that they lived in. It was dark. It was about 10 o'clock or so. They decided to have one more beer and go out to the back porch and have more conversation. Their roommate, who I didn't know had other ideas, and forced me into his bedroom and proceeded to kiss me. I told him to stop, and I begged him to let me go, and that he was drunk and this was not a good idea. He then became more forceful, and yes, this may be graphic for some people. If you don't want to hear any more of this, I suggest you turn off this live video. However, I think you need to hear the details because this is really important, protecting women out there to know what people are going through. And rape victims do not usually come forward, and they're not usually forthcoming with details, and I think this is really important because there's a part in this that I want to share. So I told him that this was not a good idea. So he continued to be forceful, and he took my clothes off. In fact, he ripped them. And as I was resisting him, I told him that I was on my period and I didn't want to do this. He continued and said he didn't care, and he told me he was going to do it anyway. When he couldn't get aroused enough, he then forced me to give him oral sex and violated me in so many ways. It brought me back to being 15 all over again and feeling so defeated, ashamed, and embarrassed, and so dirty. At this point, when I say when it brought me back to being 15 again, I had been violated and a victim of a sexual assault before by a law enforcement officer when I was a police explorer. And that police explorer advisor had served time in prison and is now living in prison again because he violated the terms of his parole. He held me at his house from about 10 that night until about 3 the next morning of a Thursday by holding my arms and pinning me down. I was finally able to get away as I have a safe word with all of my friends so that they know when I need my help and where I'm at. They're able to locate me. And this is why I'm telling you the details, because women out there, if you are single or even when you're out with your friends, have a safe word. I'm telling you this because if I didn't have a safe word with my friends and I was in this scenario, things could have gone so differently and I might not be here. So I happened to get a few text messages that night and I wasn't in a position to respond in a way like to say, hey, you know, what's up, that kind of thing. So while he was drifting off to sleep and I was able to move away from under him, I looked at my phone and the first person I came to, whoever that person was, I just texted them my safe word. They helped me get away by calling the authorities just to let them know, hey, you know, Allie's at this house or at this location, but I was able to leave on my own accord and drive away. I was able to get to the ER, you know, after I saved all my clothes from that night. I drove directly there. Yes, I had clothes in my car, so I was able to change out of the clothes when I got to the ER and put on, you know, a different set of clothes that I had. Yes, it was my favorite pink shirt that I was wearing that night and some PJ pants, because, you know, I was only meeting my friends at the restaurant, you know, to have an appetizer and a sweet tea. And of course my underwear, you know, but I knew that I couldn't wash them, nor could I think about ever wearing them again without thinking about what had just happened to me. I reported the incident to the triage nurse and they put me in a confidential status room and, you know, they called the authorities to come to the ER to take my statement written and recorded. I felt so humiliated to be telling my account of what happened to 3 male officers of the law, as I had already had no faith in the justice system or law enforcement because I was violated by one of their own. I felt so uncomfortable being in that room alone with them that I just didn't want to be touched or photographed or anything. I ended up having the rape kit done and a DNA test along with a pregnancy test and blood work. And when the blood work came back that I had the date rape drug in my system, and the detectives and then the deputies who collected all the evidence photographed me from every angle and asked me a million humiliating questions. I was so sick with worry and anxiousness and guilt. It was such an awful feeling. I was like, how did I get the date rape drug in my system? I only had gotten up once after I had paid my bill to go to the bathroom, and I came back from the bathroom to, you know, pick up my, you know, my receipt and to drink, you know, a couple sips of my drink. Ladies, or whoever you're with, men, I don't care. If you leave your drink after you get up and pay your tab to go to the bathroom and everything, and you have your acquaintances at the table still, ask for a new drink. Seriously. If you don't know, regardless of anybody at that table, even though you're out with people you may know and they're not looking, they're not paying attention, ask for a new drink. Seriously. The doctors gave me something to calm my stomach, but they wouldn't give me anything else. They told me that I couldn't have anything else in my system before my blood work came back from the toxicologist in case they had to take blood again. I wasn't allowed to have any controlled substances due to the date rape drug being in my system. I still physically hurt from this, and yes, I have bruises on my legs and chest from where he held me, but it's the emotional scars that are tearing me up inside. The scars are gone now because it's been months, but it's the emotional trauma because I'm still going to counseling and, you know, I still write, of course, every day, you know, but it's what kills me of what happened afterwards, that the emotional scars are there. The detective from the sheriff's office that took over my case had the audacity to ask me to drive by the house in the daylight and get his address of where this occurred because I drove them over in the dark and I had never been to the house and I didn't know the address. I just knew how to get there. I became so enraged and I felt even more defeated. Like, why would this man ask me to do this, especially alone? Like, why couldn't I get in the police car or the detective's car, and he'd drive me over there if I could just give him the directions, because I didn't want to go over there alone. This has turned my life into a nightmare, and I swear that I will never be able to trust again, or if I do trust, I'm going to have a hard time, and letting down my guard is going to be even harder. I feel like I have boulders, like, around me, and when I go out in public, I don't look at anyone the same again, and I'm constantly looking over my shoulder because I don't feel safe and secure anymore, because I look at everybody through rose-colored glasses, because I'm looking to make sure that, are they going to hurt me? Are they going to do something to violate me or the person sitting next to me, or what may happen? The man and the other people involved that could have stopped this in their own house when I was screaming for help, and they thought I was just joking. They're all now facing 20 years to life in prison because of this. It's a shame that this happened to me, but this is preventable. And I'm sharing this story because I have to be the light in someone else's world. And I'm ready to share my story of this. I'm a survivor, and I wear this necklace on my around my neck, and it says survivor on here, along with my half marathon run charm, which I'm so very proud of. But here's the takeaway from this. Be resilient. Pick yourself back up and dust yourself off. You're going to be okay. People are rooting for you. You are enough. I've had to stand in my mirror and look at myself through the tears and through the body shame and tell myself, I am enough. People are rooting for you. Your friends will not always be strong because they wish that they could have done more for you. They don't want to have you suffer through this alone. They probably want to kick this guy's ass, but that's what the prison's going to be there for, I'm sure. Okay? Let them cry with you. It's okay. Take their hand and get through the major pains and life-shattering moments together. Okay? Don't shut those out who care for you. Tell those in your life that you love them and care about them. Fight for what you believe in. Be fearless. Be strong. And remember this. I love you. I don't care if you have, if you need the last dollar in my wallet. I just have to remember that my doggy needs food, because otherwise she'll bark at you. But once she's fed, I'll give you my last dollar or whatever. Again, my air conditioner can wait to get fixed in my car. I'm just thankful I have a car. But I will give you the last shirt off my back and everything. But remember, you are enough. I love you, and you're going to be okay. Be resilient and be fearless. Be strong. Be kind. Humanity is rooting for you. We have to be kind. We are all the same. We're all fighting the same battle out there. Love you. Signing off. Enjoy, Trace.